When I was born, everyone was expecting me to have arms. It was a complete shock to everybody. And at first, the nurse told him that I was totally fine. And then when the doctor came out and told him that he had a son who had hands but no arms, he couldn't believe that. He had never heard that such a thing was possible. You know, he later, many years later, told me that he prayed that just let me have a mind, and that if I had a mind, that they would take care of everything else. And my parents, they both made a promise to me when I was born that they've kept every day of my life, and that was to do everything that they possibly could so that I could live a full life. They taught me from a young age that I have a great opportunity to help others by educating people about my experience. And whenever I would encounter someone who would act mean towards me or cry because they had never seen someone like me, my parents taught me not to hate that person, but to feel sorry for them and to understand that their spirit had been ensnared by the tentacles of intolerance, and that if I could find a way to break through that and to educate them about my humanity, then I would help them live a better life and everyone that they encountered. And so my parents turned the idea of disability on its head. And rather than teach me that I'm less capable or less able to make a difference in the world, they taught me that I have a unique opportunity to learn from my experience and to help others to live a better life. There were some kids who were very mean, especially some of the kids that I grew up with in the neighborhood. And when I was 8 years old, you know, and they would attack me, and the scratches and the scrapes that I was getting became bruises and broken bones when they started taking karate. And rather than use their training to protect themselves or defend themselves against others who might attack them, instead they chose to use that training to attack me. And when talking to their parents didn't work, my parents realized that they couldn't fight my battles for me, and that if I was going to go out into the world without them, that I needed to know how to protect myself and defend myself. And so, you know, my parents took me to a bunch of different karate masters who all had impressive pictures on the wall, and their offices were filled with trophies, and they demonstrated all these amazing moves, but none of them were moves that I could do. And so we finally found a karate master by the name of Master Martin Carson. When I first met Master Carson, he watched how I moved and how I walked. And so after a few minutes, he bent his knees and crouched down and put his hands behind his back and tucked them in his karate belt. And then he called for 4 black belts to attack him. And he quickly disarmed them and knocked them to the floor with moves that I could do. He moved his body the way that I moved my body. And that's how I knew that he was the karate teacher for me, was because he was the only one who actually tried to fight from my position and what I could do. He taught me how to use the differences in my body and to not see them not as a negative or something that I couldn't do, but to find the advantage or how I could apply the differences in my body to do amazing things that other people hadn't thought of or hadn't been able to do. And that lesson I've taken with me and applied every day of my life. Disability is complicated, and it's not all negative. And even the most negative things, out of them can come really beautiful and rewarding and wonderful experiences. But if we don't open ourselves up to it, if we say instead, oh, well, I can't do it like other people do it, or I can't do it like I used to do it, or like it's supposed to do it, we close ourselves off. Where if one of the great things about my life is that there isn't a set way for me to do things. So I constantly get to find new solutions and different ways of doing things to problems that people had thought that they had found a solution hundreds of years ago sometimes. And so I think that if we move away from that rigidity and we're willing to see the world for what it is instead of what it used to be or what we want it to be, that we have a lot more options, and there's a lot more that we can find that's rewarding and beautiful and wonderful, that if we close ourselves off and say, well, we can't do it 100% or we can't do it like everybody else, that not only do we limit ourselves, but we deny the world a great gift of originality and passion and care.